Hi, precious heart. Thank you for joining us for our weekly vlog. The company of heaven is aware that the information they are sharing today may seem new to you and may be a little technical. However, they affirm that knowing this truth on a conscious level will greatly enhance the ability of your I Am Presence to reveal to you the extensive experiences you have been through in preparation for this cosmic moment in your evolutionary process. Last week, we talked about the cosmic dispensation from our Father, Mother God that allowed hundreds of millions of our sisters and brothers from the higher realms of illumined truth to embody on earth during the latter part of the 1800s and the beginning of the 1900s. That was the first phase of the divine plan, involving the urgent push to awaken humanity in time for the shift of the ages. The second phase of the divine plan involved a dispensation from our Father, Mother God that gave the company of heaven permission to come through the dense veil of humanity's miscreations in the psychic astral plane in order to meet us halfway. This divine intervention made it much easier for awakening humanity to reach up in consciousness and once again connect with the beings of light in the realms of illumined truth through our I Am Presence. As the enlightened beings who were embodied on earth began to awaken and reach up in consciousness, several mystery schools began forming on earth. Each school was under the tutelage of the company of heaven and revealed one of the various paths that would assist humanity to awaken and return to Christ consciousness. As this sacred knowledge for the various mystery schools began flowing into the mental and emotional strata of earth, people around the world began awakening in massive numbers. This caused the light of God to expand exponentially through every person's heart flame. People began remembering who they are and why they are on earth during this auspicious time. This awakening terrified our human egos because they knew if we regained Christ consciousness and our I Am Presence reclaimed dominion of our physical, etheric, mental, and emotional bodies, they would lose the ability to manipulate and control us. This fear caused an all-out rebellion in the most asleep and recalcitrant people on earth. In order to try and stop humanity's awakening, these people, through the fallen consciousness of their human egos, proceeded to wreak havoc wherever they could. World War I, World War II, and the creation of the atom bomb, the Korean War, and the other wars that took place during the last century, including the Vietnam War, were all instigated through the fear-based consciousness of humanity's fragmented egos. In addition to the catastrophic wars, some people's egos tried to block humanity's awakening through greed, corruption, and the abuse of power. That interference caused the stock market crash in the 1920s and 1930s, and the obscene imbalance of the distribution of wealth that we are experiencing to this very day. But in spite of the ego's horrific attempt to block humanity's awakening, its malevolent efforts were destined to fail. Consequently, the divine plan continued to unfold step by step. The light of God is infinitely more powerful than the fragmented and fear-based thought forms and behavior patterns of our fallen human egos. The enlightened beings embodied on earth continued to awaken, and the influx of light and the sacred knowledge they invoked into the hearts and minds of the masses of humanity through each person's I am presence, began raising the energy, vibration, and consciousness of each person above the chaos and confusion manifesting in their life. In the 1950s and the 1960s, the oneness of all life began to be resurrected within the hearts of awakening humanity. In the United States of America, the civil rights movement became a powerful force for good. Once again, our fear-based egos tried to block this compassionate and very vitally important movement toward equality and oneness. But in most instances, their attempts failed. During the 1960s and 1970s, the youth around the world began rejecting the consciousness of war and greed. Young people in the United States and around the world began peace movements and expressed en masse the concept of making love, not war. These awakening young people professed the need to reconnect with nature and to honor Mother Earth as the living, breathing organism she is. They rejected the ego's quest for the almighty dollar and its wayward desire to accumulate wealth and personal gain regardless of the negative effects that obsession for money may have on humanity or the earth. During those decades, young people tuned in and dropped out and connected with a new level of spirituality that inspired them to remember their own divinity as sons and daughters of God. This awareness set them on a quest for answers that catapulted the earth and all her life into the full embrace of the dawning new age of enlightenment. When our egos realized that sacred knowledge was flowing into the hearts and minds on the waves of consciousness associated with the dawning new age of enlightenment, they knew they had to do something, or our I am presence would be able to once and for all reclaim the power our ego had usurped from us eons ago. The only thing our egos knew to do was to discredit the profound truth flowing from the heart and mind of God into the mental and emotional strata of Earth during the dawning new age. Our egos created fear-based misinformation and disinformation about the term New Age. They knew that whenever there is new information coming to the forefront that challenges our present belief systems, our first response is to become suspicious and afraid. Once we let go of fear and open our hearts and minds, however, our I am presence is able to help us perceive things in a higher light with greater clarity. In case you are confused about what the term New Age really means, let me briefly share with you what a New Age is. First and foremost, a New Age is not a new religion or a movement or a new philosophy or the work of the devil, as some are professing. The dawn of a new age is nothing more than a span of time. It involves the natural astronomical cycle known as the precession of the equinoxes, which the Earth has been going through since her inception. As the Earth revolves on her axis every 24 hours, we experience a new day. As she orbits in a clockwise movement around the sun every 365 and a fourth days, we experience a new year. On the orbit around the sun, the Earth passes through the force fields of the 12 natural constellations that form our zodiac. During this annual orbit, The earth and all life evolving upon her are held in the light and influence of these constellations for 28 to 31 days, depending on the month. These are the sun cycles that we are all familiar with: Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, etc. Each of these constellations pulsates with one of the 12 solar aspects of deity, which the Company of Heaven will discuss in a later vlog. During the time we are held in the force field of each sun cycle, the earth is bathed with the light and the divine qualities of that particular solar aspect of deity. All life on earth receives the blessings from this light, regardless of whether or not we are aware of it or whether we are in any way associated with astrology. In addition to the very obvious time frames of a new day and a new year, the earth is part of a much larger celestial cycle that is called the precession of the equinoxes. This precession is created by the wobble the earth makes due to the tilted position of her axis. This is a counterclockwise rotation that once again moves the earth very slowly through the force fields of the 12 constellations. The earth's movement in this precession is measured at the point where the sun passes the equator during the March equinox each year. This point moves about 50.2 seconds per year, so it takes about 70 years for the earth to move 1 degree, or about 26,000 years to move through the force fields of all 12 constellations. The earth is held in the light of the solar aspect of deity associated with each constellation for approximately 30 degrees, or a little over 2,000 years. These 2,000-year cycles are called ages. The dawn of a new age is the period of time during which the energies from the age we are leaving begin to recede, and the energies from the solar aspect of deity of the constellation we are moving into have not fully embraced the earth. It is during this ebb of energy that our Father, Mother God, and the Company of Heaven evaluate the progress humanity made during the age that is ending and determine what information will enhance our spiritual growth in the dawning new age. Once the decision is made, that sacred knowledge is projected into the mental and emotional strata of Earth so that awakening humanity will have easy access to it. In the latter part of the 1800s, we began leaving the age of Pisces, and we had not begun to receive the full influx of light from the dawning age of Aquarius. This opened the door for the influx of information our Father, Mother God, and the Company of Heaven felt would be most beneficial in helping humanity through the shift of the ages and the Earth's ascension into the fifth dimensional frequencies of the new Earth. The Company of Heaven will continue sharing this information next week, but in the meantime, they are asking you to contemplate this information and to ask your I Am Presence to reveal to you the areas of your awakening process that are being confirmed by the time frames in this sacred knowledge. God bless you, precious heart. I look forward to being with you again next week.